what's his name now? The former Google venture partner that has this website, Bring the Donuts. Uh, his name just escaped me now. So he actually is the one that inspired me to start reading books again. That was 4 years ago, I think. I read one of his posts like that, and he's a senior PM, OG PM. He's been PM for like 20, 30 years. And so, and his advice is that you don't actually need to finish the books, right?
Mm.
But I do finish the books, right? But you don't have to finish the book. So you can pick a book once you one way to read many book is don't stick to it. So if it's no longer interesting, at some point
Mm.
switch and switch, then switch back. Like walking backward, for example, is about Amazon. Some of the stories of Amazon we product managers already know. We are aware of the leadership principle and everything. So, but
Mm-hmm.
when I picked the book, there's a chapter that I went straight to. That was metrics, right? And
Mm.
why metrics? I've been doing something around telemetry of recent, around instrumenting. So I really wanted to know how Amazon, because they're into operational excellence, and one of the key things in operational excellence is that you have to track your numbers. If you
Yeah.
want to be a low cost, that means you are managing costs.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to that chapter, I read that chapter, and I picked a lot of valuable points from that chapter. I'll still read other chapters and I'll still finish that book, right? Audible listen like Inspired and Co. I listen to them, finish them, we read them, we finish. So I don't track them like, oh, I'm running against time that I finished. Initially, I know in my head, oh, some years I can read 50 books, 40 books. That's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
now that's not the goal. The goal is that this book, I want to pick something from it. Do I need to read all the chapters to pick it? If yes, then I finish it.
Mm-hmm.
If no, if it's a particular part, take for example, I was on the radio in traffic, tuned to the radio. Then there's this program that IDNang used to do. They still do that program. I've forgotten the name of the program now, and it was talking about the Jews system that
Yeah.
day. And there's this thing they call red car effect. When
Mm-hmm.
when you hear about something, then you start seeing the thing all around you, right? So immediately after the program, I looked across in traffic and I saw guys selling books. And the book he was talking about was the one that was just flashed at me. I used my last money to buy that book. I finished that book that night, but how? I just discovered that the book has a summary of all the chapters.
Mm.
So I'll read the introduction and the summary part. Introduction, summary, introduction, summary. So with that, I covered all I needed to cover in that book that night. So I don't know if I answer your question. So
Yeah, I think you did. Godwin, I'm sure
Yes,
God.
yes, you did very well, very well. I just love the parts that you said you don't have to finish a book. Once it's getting boring, of course, you can shift to another one, then switch back again, and all of that. Yeah, so you answered.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, Godwin, for that question. I myself have been pumped by what Bolaji has said. So it means that it's going to be a great session, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Right.
So I've sorry,
Yeah.
I've remembered the name of the person, Ken Norton, right?
Oh, Cal Norton. Oh
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. I remember Cal Norton. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, good evening everyone again. Please you can introduce yourselves in the chat. Nice to meet everyone. You can follow each other on LinkedIn. I mean, this is an opportunity to also connect in as much as we are going to be learning a lot from Bolaji this evening. So before we start, I'd like to just introduce who Bolaji is. So Bolaji is currently senior programs manager at Microsoft. He's an experienced technology professional with software development, product management, and product management. And his background roles include software engineering, enterprise solutions architect, service delivery manager, product manager, and technical program manager. And then, if you're wondering if Bolaji has any hobbies, he likes to read and he enjoys traffic, which he said sounds weird. I'm sure nobody here in Lagos enjoys traffic. I myself, I don't enjoy traffic, but yes, Bolaji does, and that is absolutely fine as well. So, welcome Bolaji to the August edition of the Product Charts. Really, really happy that to have you here. So, we'll just start off with your journey so far. I mean, from thing I just read, it's like you've done it all. I mean, the only thing you're probably not done is product design, but I know you've done some aspects of product design, or even quality assurance. But I'm still sure you've done aspects of quality assurance in your career. But just talk to us about how your product journey has been so far.
Okay, awesome. And hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, and wherever we are joining us from. Um, I'm excited to be the August visitor in August. Yeah. So, for before we have another August visitor is 2024.
Yep.
So I'm excited to have that spot today.
Great.
And thanks Fumnanya for extending this honor and this privilege to me. I anytime so one of the things I want to get better at is sharing my knowledge, sharing my passion, mentoring, talking, finding opportunity to. There's no point consuming so much and without producing so much. So it's just like you're having constipation, right? You're just eating and eating, but you're not digesting it. So
Yeah.
forums like this helps me to fill my knowledge gap. So my name is Oladipupo Bolaji. So I'll tell you interesting things I tell my colleagues here at Microsoft about my name. I love to be called Bolaji because everybody answer Bolaji in the house, even my kids answer Bolaji. I grew up to answer Bolaji, but Bolaji is my surname.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bolaji is my surname. But as you all know, we are Nigerians. I assume mostly Nigerians. I know this platform is global, and here we use British system, and in school they will say surname first.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I say Bolaji, they will say no, surname first. I says my surname is Bolaji, just because not many people answer last name or surname as Bolaji. And so I've so it's fine. So I answer Bolaji. Bolaji is my name. Um, Having said that, when I was maybe 8 or 9, I read a book, right? So we're going back to book again, right? So I read a book called The Computer, How It Works. Very hard copy, small book uh, in the 80s, right? So from that book, I learned about punch card, Charles Babbage, you know, O'Leary, and all those things. So from that point, as a young person, I formed that mental model and that interest in computer. So when I have the opportunity to study computer science, um, the first year it wasn't interesting to me because it was just la cram la pour, we're just cramming, we're just pouring things. But the day I went to the library, again, book. I saw a book in the library that, it was a book about game, right? Using QBasic to write games. And I was amazed about the power of that language that we're just using to do input A, input B, print C. Like, oh, so this thing exists. There's something called Screen 12, Screen 11, cosine, sine. You can use this mathematical equation to draw monkey, to throw this, and it can change color, it can blink. This is how you can do password text in DOS of those days. Oh wow. So I ran to my course advisor, use his influence to borrow that book from the library,
Mm.
and I start coding at the computer lab, start testing out that code, start testing it out. And from there, I just started my journey in software development. While in school, I have a computer business. So I do help students to write their final year project, master's project, whatever project that needs coding. If you're in IFE, then there's a course CSC 701 or something Fortran, then I think they'll still be doing it now, part two Fortran.
Mm.
I'm saying thumbs up. I think great if people are those people who have passed through that course. So I love solving those Fortran challenges and collecting money. Then with Data Master in Ede Road, yes, Data Master Computer. So, in summary, I started out as a studentpreneur, writing code, typing code, building products for companies like machine tools, building payroll products, stock processing product for pharmaceutical companies in Osun State. Then I moved to Lagos, start doing Power Builder. I love data window. I love crystal reports. I love writing those codes. And I switched into banking. I chased money.
Mm.
So because I needed to rent a house in Lagos, obviously, and I needed to settle down. And so I need to
Mhm.
move from Ikeja to the island. And when you're in the island, you basically is financial industry. So I was with pension, then later Oceanic Bank, then was doing that. But I wasn't fulfilled, right? So because I was not coding. Because I was
Mhm.
not coding, and because at that time I've not gotten what you call satisfaction utility. I've
Mm.
not reached that utility in software development. So I moved to
Yeah.
cyberspace after a while, and there I was opportune to express myself in coding. So we're building school portals, now Jam. My code ran the first Jam CBT for 3 years. My code was one of those code that helped, and I also managed that project end to end. Open University, UI. I was traveling all over the country, building student portal, then integrating CRM and all those things. I
Mhm.
was doing that, and later I got bored writing code. Like, oh, what are we doing here? It's just .NET, there's SQL Server. We are pushing to cloud, and like it's just the same thing. But I'm a kind of engineer that loves talking to customer. Maybe because I have a background of running a business on campus,
Yeah.
so I'm already used to collecting requirements, defining requirements, signing contract paper, getting partners, sometimes professor lecturers to get the business, and they bring the job to me, then we share at the court. So I'm already used to those kind of negotiation and code before I enter into the corporate world. So I usually code in the evening and nights like this. So in the morning, I love to just roam about all the offices, talk to people,
Mm.
and go out and talk to customers, go to cyber cafe, see how they are using the product, talk to students, talk to talk to users, get do focus group. Then I love to give small jobs. So I love to create a venue for customers to have meeting, just to talk about their problem and share small
Yeah.
jobs with them, so that they like our company, they like our faces, and all those things. So my friend just told me that, you see, what you're doing is actually product manager, and
Mm.
if you help us product manage some of these stuff, that will be fine. And I was like, product management? I've never heard of that word before. And I like, because I always like, I read a lot, so I should have picked that. So I
Mhm.
Google watched some videos. I like, oh, product management. This sounds nice. This is interesting.
Mm.
Do it. Then, so I started learning, started doing product management, found myself at startup VGG as a product manager, building fintech products. It was exciting. Managing teams, doing QA and the design team reporting all up to me and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then building products and doing that. And at some point, e-transact also called me. My friends, they're like, okay, we need your help. You like to do strategy and some things come to technology again. Come and do some of these things for us. I
Mm.
was doing that too. And also Microsoft came calling, and I've been at Microsoft for a year and a half now. And so I've touched, like you said, I've touched different parts of digital
Yeah, technology.
technology. And at Microsoft, colleagues still ask me, "Do you miss coding? Would you
Mm-hmm.
love to go back to coding?" I say to them that I actually picked in coding. Like I built product that the whole country used.
Mm-hmm.
I was sent to Cambridge to learn psychometric to be able to build a computer-based test assessment for the whole country for 3 years. I built
Oh,
educational product. I built product that I was able to win at some point. SocketWorks, Human Manager, then no, SocketWorks was education portal. System Spec was Human Manager. So at some point, I've competed with them in the marketplace, and though they are superior, but with other product strategy, we were able to win those accounts. And last night I was reading something on .NET authentication or whatever. It's not strange to me, and I I always log out once my colleagues are doing code review, peer review, PR, because
yeah,
because I don't want to be dragged into that work. Not because I don't understand. So if I see a code, I understand what dependency injection is, what OOP is, what the code is doing. And one of the mistake I made first in my first attempt at product management was once product management is difficult, I run back to my shell as engineer. We start talking architecture and co,
yeah.
but I'm failing in my product work. So I
Mm.
tell them I still have a long journey in product management. I enjoy product management. So yeah, my one of my MD when I was moving over, my CEO once told me, Bolaji, you can't forget coding. You've done real coding so well that you can't forget coding. So, but I still need to learn about business. I still need to learn about strategy. I still
Yeah,
need to build more product. I still need to, empower myself. And as engineers, most times you are introverted. You are more
yeah,
to the system. You love order. But once you move to the product side, it's a lot of chaos. You need to get people together to
yeah,
deliver something. So I
yeah.
think those are good things for me to go build on. And sorry, I like to talk too. So let me take a pause here.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sure everyone who has listened to you has taken in quite a lot. Your journey is quite interesting. I think you're the first software engineer that I've met that transitioned into products. Most software engineers I know don't want to jump into the chaos, like you said. Everybody wants to like run away from it, but that's okay. Very interesting journey, and I want to say congratulations on how your journey has progressed so far. So you've been a product manager for some time now, and you've also been in some senior roles at VDG, at eTransact. What are some of those key skills or experiences that you believe are crucial for product managers who are aspiring to get to senior roles at the point of their career?
First, very interesting. You need to know how to manage up, not suck up.
Yeah,
but
very
but manage up, very important. If you don't know about it, you can go to Lantana bookshop. They have a very small HBR, uh 20 minutes review that is just about 25 pages that can teach you about how to manage up, or you can Google it. So it's not you sucking up, but it's important. I missed that at some point in my career, but it's not about doing the work alone. When you are getting to seniority, it's no longer about hands-on, it's about how well can we trust you with more work and responsibility. How well can you speak business speak? How well can you speak the language of the business, revenue, profit, those metrics that matters beyond you just looking at, oh, this time we are spending in meetings. I want to go and code, Jerry, and this thing
mm,
is not profit. So they look at those things like how is your attitude to the overall picture. When you are engineer, you are just narrow focus on your tasks. But as you move to senior, you do less work, but you do more people and business related work. And that's very important. Then you need to know how to execute. So execution is a big word, but of course, from book like Discipline of Execution, I learned what execution is. It's just three things, right? How to get things done, how to get things done through others, and so no, it's three things: how to follow up,
mm-hmm,
how to follow through, and how
mm-hmm,
to get things done through others. So if you can do those three things, follow up, follow through, get others to do things, then you are good at execution.
yeah,
So whatever the definition of it, whatever. So if you can do those, so management people up are looking out for who can follow through, who can follow up, who can not only do the work but can influence others to
yeah,
get the work done. Because at that senior level, it's not only about you.
mm-hmm,
Team must be able to deliver as in fact the team must be better than you.
yes,
That's when you are leading.
yeah,
Because if you are the only one getting better, the business is at risk. And
yes.
and it means that you can't delegate. You don't trust your lieutenant enough. And
Mm-hmm.
so those are the things that are very important in my view.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And it's something that I personally learned very early when I was starting out in product management, about how the team has to be better for the product to even be better. Because if you're working with a team that you don't trust and cannot execute the way you want them to execute, you have a lot of problems. You run into a lot of problems, and then the organization can't trust you to execute. They won't care if your team is the problem. They would care that you are the problem,
Mhm.
and it will not also help you to get to those senior positions at the end of the day. So very, very important. Those two things that you mentioned, managing up and executing. But in terms of, I mean, you're a senior program manager at Microsoft. I mean, the journey has been long. The journey has been really gruesome sometimes. You would agree with me. What advice do you give to those who are seeking like growth opportunities and leadership positions within their organization? Because we have a lot of product managers now who come and say, "Oh, I'm not getting to that next level. I'm not getting promoted. My boss does not see my value. My CEO doesn't think that I can actually do what is required, or is giving me this promotion." What advice will you give to those people who are seeking those growth opportunities and leadership positions?
Awesome. So I would say number one, find an ally. Right. So it's always very important. Find an ally. Then also culture matters.
Mm-hmm.
So if you work for an organization like Microsoft, somebody is looking out for you, like, okay, there's a process. Everybody wants you to do more, but
Mm-hmm.
if not, uh, find an ally. Then let your manager knows what you want, or your line manager, whoever you are reporting to, let them know that you want more responsibility. Then try to start acting out the next role that you want in your current role.
Mm-hmm.
So in your organization, if you're a product APM and you want to be maybe a product manager,
Yeah.
go find the JD of PM in your organization. What are they responsible for? So as an APM, start developing, start doing that, and start documenting it to show that, oh, even as APM, I'm already taking on this scope and this responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid that when I get there, that shoe will be too big for me, or I will not be able to fit into it because I'm already primed to deliver at that level. So
Mm-hmm.
so I think ally is important, then mentorship, and also begin to understand how your business makes money.
Yes. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is very important because if you know how your business makes money, you can know how you can contribute value.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're expecting in terms of promotion or money is a return of the value you want to deliver for the
For the
organization,
business. Yeah.
yeah, for the business.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So I mean, you spoke about mentorship, and I know that you have you have some mentors that have guided you. I think that one thing that's really missing in the product space, especially in Nigeria, is the willingness of a lot of people to become mentors, and also the unwillingness of people to also be mentored as well. It goes both ways. But for the guys who are actually on this call, I want you to emphasize on, in your experience, how important is it to seek out mentorship and guidance from experienced professionals in shaping a very successful journey to senior product management?
Awesome. So guys on this call, ladies on this call, folks on the call, I share your pain if you don't have a mentor, and or if you don't know what mentorship can do for you. I share. I honestly, I empathize. I was in your shoe until last year. That changed for me because and I just looked back and said, if the type of mentorship I have at Microsoft, I've had it in my career, maybe as a starting career or any other place, um, even if I'm here at this level, I will have done much more better,
Mm,
like than I've done, right? So because um, they say that if you want to go far, go with a mentor, right? So
yeah.
there's really a lot of things that you can achieve, if you have a mentor. And mentorship doesn't really mean that that person you should have if you're opportune to have a face-to-face one-on-one mentorship, awesome. But you can pick somebody far away that doesn't know you, and you can begin to study that person. Remember I told you I had to start when I read about Ken Norton, Bring the Donut page, and it talked about books and why you don't need to finish the books and whatever. And I begin to sometimes I go back to his page to look for his reading list for the year. I look
Mhm.
for things I can. So if you pick somebody like Matty Kagan, for example, as your mentor, you
Yeah.
begin to consume all his content and his writings. You begin to write like a uncle. One day you might be surprised that you ping him and he'll respond.
Mhm.
I've I've done a post that I tag him before and he acknowledged and he put comment in the post after, and the post went viral. So so when people see value, and I was speaking to somebody in product 2 days ago, like, oh, you can be a mentor, and she was like, oh, I'm just starting. I don't have, in fact, I'm struggling myself. I said, the little you know, you can share, right?
Yeah.
So we can have struggling mentorship forum where we both struggle together
Yes.
and learn. So, and that's one of the things that Dan Hustling does. Every month it brings product people like this together, like in a physical meetup,
Yeah.
and somebody, senior leader or industry expert, will come around and give a face-to-face talk. And some of those things is lacking in Lagos.
Yeah.
My colleague and I, we're brainstorming about it, about how we also can help, especially because sometimes we can have opportunity of space. Space could be an issue, but for
Mm-hmm.
some of us who work in organization that we could always leverage that for space, it would be nice to start, partnering and bringing folks face to face for a meetup, you know, so
Yeah.
that will help. But please find a mentor, and if you're a mentee, also just know first that there's a difference between a coach and a mentor. A coach is asking you a series of questions to prompt you.
Yeah.
A mentor is there to just at some point give you some guide, then you give you an advice, then walk things through. It's not going to solve your problem,
Mm-hmm.
and reason some things out, present it to your mentor. It will just be like a second eye that helps you. And once your mentor starts seeing your enthusiasm, then it starts also pushing things towards you. And you can always change your mentor at some point. So if you want to be better at writing PLD, you can find a mentor that is good at writing PLD. If you want
Yeah.
to if you want to be good at speaking, find a mentor that can help you that when you're done. And also try to also give back. Find somebody to mentor. That way we can always help ourselves. Yeah, Microsoft mentorship is organized, is serious. So,
Mm.
and I know there's ADP list, so maybe we can begin to have a local version of it too. At Microsoft, you can actually go to the portal and find a mentor, right? And just anybody around the world. So imagine when I was a dev, Scott Guthrie is a VP of cloud, very senior leader at Microsoft. I used to read his book as a dev,
Mm.
and Scott Anslam. So when I joined Microsoft, one of the first mail I got was from Scott Guthrie. Like, oh wow.
Wow.
So I read the mail. At some point, Scott Anslim, I just discovered that, these guys are just one ping away from me now. And I
Mm-hmm.
start I start pinging them, and they start responding like, even the other guys on LinkedIn that I used to follow. There's this popular guy on LinkedIn. He has moved from LinkedIn to PayPal now. Uh, he does something about product interview. Uh, how did I forget his name? I remember his name. He's very popular on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. If I mention his name, you know him. I just remember that. Oh wow, LinkedIn and Microsoft, we are the same company now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. I pinged him on LinkedIn, and he replied me, and we became, and the other guys on LinkedIn that are product leaders on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
I started a conversation with them, and if I need help, I need clarification, I just got that I have that whole pool of resources, like to, so you may not have that inside the organization, but LinkedIn also opened that breadth for
Mm-hmm.
us. So connect with folks. Some will decline, maybe because they are not seeing the value.
Yeah.
Don't be discouraged. Keep creating value. Then they will accept your connection at some point. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Yeah. I genuinely agree. And one thing I should also say, with everything that you have given, all the advice, really, really great advice. One thing I should also say is that when you're also presenting yourself to your mentor or potential mentor, it will be great to show them how you can also help them. Because most times people forget that mentors also need help too.
Like,
Um,
sorry to butt in, right?
yeah.
Like, I'm struggling to set up a YouTube page, right?
Hmm.
For many months, I was struggling to create a website.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes I pay guys and they fumble it. One day I just like, I'm a dev now. I've built website before. So I had to struggle on a Saturday, pay, then go to WordPress, stand WordPress and did something. So for example, if I have a mentee that say, "Oh, you're struggling with this thing, let me help you,
Yeah.
at least let me show you how to do TikTok, for example, because I don't know how to do TikTok. Sorry about that. All right.
No.
So so I can come back and say, okay, I can say, okay, come back, don't worry. Let me show you how to debug your code too,
Yeah.
because I've debugged several lines of code. So that's the so you have something to give, right? You have something to give. So
Yeah.
don't think that you don't have something to give. You
Yeah.
you, you do.
Always, always, absolutely, I agree. So I'll just take a pause here and say, if you have any questions, please you can just drop it in the chat. At the end of the chat, we'll be taking those questions as well. And if you're just joining us, welcome product chats. And our August visitor is Bolaji Oladipupo, who is a senior program manager at Microsoft. And yes, if you joined at the beginning, I'm sure that you're enjoying the discussion so far. So we're just going to segue into local versus international product management. There's always this thing I say, and it's something I actually do want to experience in the long run on how product management works in other countries or in other companies that are not in Nigeria. I think it's going to be an eye opener for me, but I would absolutely love to digest all of that learning from these various companies. But in your opinion, what would you say? I mean, you've seen product managers that transition from local here in Nigeria to big companies. What would you say has been like the major challenges that you have seen with the transition journey, and how would you suggest that those people can overcome them?
Yeah, thanks. That's also a brilliant question. And I think if you desire it, you can get it. So there are a lot of big tech around. There are a lot of foreign companies around. It's just a matter of time. You might maybe next month be changing your LinkedIn profile to one of them.
Yeah.
So it's possible. Those who are having it doesn't have the two heads, right? So it's
Mhm.
just the same head. I would say first is culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
culture is big, especially if you're coming from a Nigerian company. Most times we are more output focus, metric focus than input metric focus. Product companies that are multinational, international, big tech or abroad, they are kind of more input metric focus than. So the second thing is also that they have this culture of narrative, culture of writing, culture of documenting, which in our environment, um, maybe because of our size, we do more of face to face, drop it on WhatsApp channel. You know, the boss wants to see everybody on seats, and so we do a lot of informal communication. And at big tech, they do more of formal and structured communication. So most times meetings are very expensive. So So you don't just call meetings the way we call meetings in Nigeria, and we start with opening prayer. You read the last meeting agenda.
Bolaji, this sounds like a shade.
Then no, I'm just telling you the difference, right?
Yeah,
So because I've experienced the two
yeah.
sides. Of course, I know some Nigerian companies don't do this. At least when I was at VGG, we have good culture that I could see that maybe because the leaders at VGG then too, they were more US based, so they worked in the US, so I could see that culture, permeate. And of course, it took them time also to have that culture shift. I understand also. So all those things, the, international companies are more metric focused. So we are not just, this Burna Boy memes now that you explain
Mm.
tire, no evidence. So it's not about your fancy talk. Are we? What is the metric? Is it leading to what we want to do? If it's not leading, what is the remedial? What have you come up with? What we need to do? And the good thing is that they have growth mindset. So failure is not really punished. In fact, and they encourage you to be yourself. So the question is, what have you learned? And
Mhm.
once you learn something, you avoid it and you moved on to
Yeah,
do other things. So nobody is so you're not afraid to speak up.
yeah,
So you can always challenge anybody. Just bring your data, even if it is not backed by data. If you just produce sense, at least you say something,
yeah.
and somebody can pick it up and form an hypothesis about it, so those are the things that I see that different. So when we move to that, we need to conquer imposter syndrome. So they actually want to learn something from you
Yeah.
because every company is trying to build what we call inclusive products.
Yes.
And they can't build for Africa because they've not lived our experience. So you
Yes.
joining the team, you're actually bringing value to the table.
Yeah.
So there is some perspective that you can talk. They've not experienced it before, and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so there are users like this. Yes, we have millions of them in Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
this is how they will react to this product. This is their
Mm-hmm.
reality. They don't have power. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have this. Minimum wage is this.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things they are struggling with. This inflation rate,
Yeah.
this exchange rate. So these
Mm-hmm.
are so these are proper way of doing go to market. So we need to do GTM in Pidgin, things like that. So those contexts, we bring those contexts. So don't be afraid to shine, right? The Indians are not afraid to let their accent, reflect when they are speaking. So don't be afraid to let your accent also come. They understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about that. They do. So so
Yeah.
so, um, so I think style of communication, time zone, culture, those are the
Yeah.
challenges we face when we cross over, but
Yeah.
they are surmountable.
Yeah, I totally agree. One thing that you said that I totally agree with was embracing our cultural diversity, especially when we're working with other people from different time zones, and also embracing their own cultural diversity, because you're not the only one that is different. There are a lot of people around the world that is different. Majority of us here on this call, we are Nigerians. And I'm sure most of us on this call are looking for international opportunities. We're keeping an eye out there to get that. So, what advice do you give on building a global network and positioning oneself for success in the global product management arena?
Awesome. So first advice, be Fumnaya's friend. Yeah, yeah. So he's an influencer. So he has a cloud. So be a mentee and let him retweet you. Let him like your post. So you have to be visible. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you a quick story of how I got into Microsoft. I got Microsoft job through LinkedIn. Before that time, no recruiter has ever, you know, approached me on LinkedIn. It was this same friend of mine that said I should move to that I was doing product management. I should move to product management. We were having conversation one day, and he said that recruiters are not aligned to rest.
Hmm.
So he earns dollar in Nigeria now anyway.
Yeah.
So he said recruiters are not aligned to rest. He's also a developer. Like I said, how do you do it? Me, I've been on LinkedIn for donkey years. Nobody even say what am I selling here.
Hmm.
So what am I not doing? So nothing, that is just his profile. So I went to look at his profile. Okay. I clean up my profile, and a month after that conversation, somebody knocked from Kenya and said, I'm a Microsoft recruiter. I love your resume. We are recruiting for Africa. Would you like to join us? I said, why not? I've opened shop since nobody has come now. You are my first customer. So let's do it. So that's how the journey, started, and the rest is history. So I would say be visible,
Yeah.
be vocal, be valuable,
Hmm.
contribute something. Don't just be liking is fine. It gives us dopamine, like, oh, when Fuminaya posts something and five, six, seven like it's dopamine. But you are doing that for Fuminaya, which is great, but not for yourself. So why not add a comment to Fuminaya's post? You can even challenge him
Hmm.
respectfully if you have something to. I've once challenged a senior product leader, like, oh, you were talking about MVP, but I think from my own understanding, this is not what MVP is. And
Yeah.
he liked the post and he came back and said, oh, yeah, sorry, I actually missed out something about it. This is the context. So, oh, because when you are typing something, you may not, you know, have the time to proofread or to cover all the context, right?
Hmm.
So somebody reading it will not just say, this person is a senior, whatever he put out there is. So you might not have formed your thoughts by the time you are typing that. It's just in a draft form. So by
Hmm.
by having people contribute to that debate, you know, it now gives you that clarity. So, and it is when you contribute like that that people begin to see you, begin to understand your thought pattern, and they
Hmm.
begin to want to engage with you, not only just like.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely agree. Thank you so much for that, Bolaji. So, final question before we take any questions in the house is reflecting on your product career. Um, what's one valuable lesson aside from reading? So you can't say reading anymore. So you have to give us another one. So aside from reading, what's that one valuable lesson you've learned that has contributed to your growth and your success as a product manager, regardless of the market that you've been in?
Uh, so aside from reading, I will say um, network. Remember or recall that I've just mentioned that I have a friend that introduced me to product management, that also introduced me to on the path for me to get to where I am now. Like, oh, so if I don't have that kind of person in my circle
Mm-hmm.
that I can bounce things off, if I want to switch to dev today, I need remote work that will pay me dollar. Is him I'll call, like, guy, you've been here 2 years collecting dollar. Show me the way.
Yeah.
he will send me the link and say, okay, go and read this book, go and brush up this your skill. Then let me tell me when you are ready. Then these are places you can apply. So you need relationship matters. You
Yeah.
need net people in your network. They say
Hmm.
that the your network is your net worth or
Yeah.
something, right? So that I've learned. So you can only go far when people know when when the people you know knows what you can do.
Yeah.
So they will remember that, oh, they'll be having a conversation and they say, oh, I know somebody, we can give him a call, he can take up this role and he will do it well because they know you and they know that you can do that.
Yeah.
And so relationship matters, and principles to core values. So just have your core values, things that are very core to you, and keep working at it.
Mm.
You will fail. I've failed. I've built product that failed, but it's a learning, and I'm always open to share those learning, and the next product, succeed because of that learning. So,
Mhm.
and every day, and that gives every day I get moved even here to different projects, and you need to ramp up quickly, read, learn, and you get it wrong, you get the feedback. You don't let it affect you. That feedback is not for you, it's just for the work. So then
Yeah.
go improve upon it. Have that growth mindset, and so that will be my advice. So, and keep learning. Learn something a day, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. Thank you so much, Bolaji. It's been a pleasure. So we have another Bolaji in the house who is asking, what's the best way to deal with imposter syndrome?
Yeah, is that Bolaji Falaye? I'm not sure
I
because I
think
know.
it is. I think
Okay,
it is. Yeah.
okay. So, hello, Bolaji. Um, so I think what imposter syndrome is just telling you is that there are some things you need to there are some things you need to work on, but sometimes you need to separate it from self-esteem and courage. So you can't. So the way I deal with it is that I can't keep learning forever. At some point, I must act, and the best time to act is now. So act and get the feedback and move on. So you'll be surprised at what you can do, but you just need to take that action, right? So ask yourself, if you need to lead a meeting, prepare well for that meeting, understand who will be at that meeting, what will be their preference, and then find an ally in that meeting and say, oh, if they're asking me difficult question, I will pass them to you. Is that fine? And the ally will say, okay, no problem. I've been here for long. That's okay. And once you are once you are handling that meeting and they are throwing that hard question at you, then you just deflect it and you just say, Fumnanya, chime in, any thoughts? Whatever. You just quickly do it like that. And because you've had that conversation, to and if you don't know, just say you don't know, you go find out. But once you commit that way, follow through. If you are going to find out, update people and say, oh, this is my findings, you know, or oh, can we, if you say we are taking it offline, don't let it, don't let them know that once you say something is offline, you are killing that thing. Take
Yeah.
it offline immediately after the meeting, ping that person and follow up. So that way, then also try to volunteer at event like this, maybe to help moderate, try to speak more often. The more you build your courage, the more you begin to tell yourself that, and I know something. At
Yeah.
least I pass WAEC. If I didn't do anything, I pass WAEC. So if I
Yeah.
can pass WAEC, this will also pass.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow. Thanks. Thanks for that. So I think Muiwa raised up hand, uh, but I don't know if Mewa is on the call. Okay, I think Mewa has dropped off the call. Okay, she's asking, um, she says, thank you very much for a very enlightening session. So much insights have been shared. So her question is this: do you have any advice for effectively managing stakeholders, precisely top executives with divergent views?
Hmm. This one hard though. Anyway, so first, let me give a general answer. Product management answer. It depends, right? But let's now unpack it. So, managing stakeholders, top executive with the evangelion view. First thing, when you want to manage stakeholders, go back to PMP, that interest influence chart. Always have it, understand how to use it, have it at the back of your hand or mental model. So know your stakeholders, know whose interests and influence are high, and how to manage them. Some you need to keep them informed, some you need to manage them actively, some you can ignore them. So understand that. Then understand your stakeholder. Is he a data person or a story person? So you need to understand that. So you have to prepare for your stakeholder. So if the data person, prepare two alternate data, for example, to say, okay, why I think we should go for this customer segment is because they are the one that earn this amount. Because of this amount, that's when we can meet our quarterly goal. If we go for this, we'll seem we are doing well because of volume, but their purchasing power is low. And this is the source of my research. You can read further if you want to. So that person, so you've done your homework and you're presenting so you are not force feeding that stakeholder. You know, he's an exec. He has seen a lot of things. He has gone to LBS. He's gone to Harvard. He has been to a co-club. He has done a lot of things. He read economics. He read this and that. You know, and you are just a product manager. That they say, what are you even doing? Yeah. So you must present that, and then let them choose, but show the consequence, pros and cons. Also have an opinion. Like in my opinion, I think we should go for this, and here is why. But these are other alternatives that are available, and these are the pros and cons of it. So you have an opinion, you you're giving options, and you are attaching your appendix or reference to that option where they can go, read more or find out more. So at that point, it's their job to make decision, but they're also making decision for the overall interest of the company, and they are not stupid. So once they see that, they will take a pause and they will drop the ego. It's either they will ask you to go do more research on a particular point, or if they go for anything. And another way to manage them is that if they choose another option and that thing boomerang, it fails, you don't come back into review and say, last time I said we should go for this option, we went for this and it fails. So this time, you people, you better listen to me. Don't don't attack your stakeholder like that. So you come back and say, we went for this option last time, it didn't work, but here's what we learned. So this time, I think based on that learning, we can go with this option. So you are not throwing shade, but they will catch the sub, right?
Thank you so much for that, Bolaji. Um, Musuliu Adenka is asking, do you need any formal training to become a product manager?
Yes and no. Yes and no. So um Anybody can be a product manager. In fact, that's the beauty of product management, right? You can transition because it's about people. And I tell you, especially if you are into psychology, you're into communication, you're an economist, you're a lawyer, you're a good candidate for PM. But you need PM is about science and art. The science are codified. The art is you keep learning the art because you are dealing with human beings and we are complex. So you never there's no end to learning about humans. So you keep learning. So but the science of PM, product management, product strategy, go to market, those things, yes, find a good product school or around a product course or a product book that is very good that could teach you that. So get trained on those tools, techniques, and practices of product because those are the things you'll be using to engage your stakeholders. So you need training on that. But the other aspect, the art of PM itself, you can't get it from training. You bring it from your other discipline, then you acquire more, then you learn other more. So if you're an engineer, you have half of it. You now need to learn the people side. If you are coming from humanities, you already have the psychology, sociology, economics. You already have half of it. So you just go learn how the tech work, how to manage engineers, how to work with engineers, how to sell products, how to engage customer, what are the frameworks for customer engagement. So you mix that together.
Great, awesome. Thank you very much. I like that balanced approach. It's not all on the left, neither is it all on the right. It's in the middle most times, and that is great. Thank you so much, Bolaji. I think that we're already past 7, and wow, I myself have learned a lot. I learned so much from everything that you said, and you guys on the call. I mean, if you have learned something, you can just give a thumbs up, clap. I mean, even yeah, throw the hooray. Like yeah, I have learned a lot from all things that Bolaji has shared today. Thank you so much for choosing to be a guest. So, just a quick announcement before we go. Bolaji mentioned something about mentorships, and I just want to say that I'm currently taking mentees. If you, like I said, there's a major problem that we have in the product space that we don't have a lot of mentors. And I think this is something that would benefit anyone who is interested in being a mentee as well. I'm very passionate about mentoring other product managers, helping them to reach their full potential because I myself learn from people, and I will continue to keep learning from people as well. So it only makes sense that I help other people to also learn. So if you're interested in being a mentee, of course, this link will be shared towards the end of the call. At the end of the call, rather, after the call is done, you see this in your email, so you can just take that step towards being a mentee. And
Uncle High.
but I should be asking you if I can
Wow.
be a mentor under your wings. Yeah, but of course we'll be having further conversations down the line. But yes, thank you so much, Bolaji, again for taking the time to do this. And I just want to say, do you have any final advice? Um, for anyone on the call regarding product management.
So I think we've shared a bunch of nuggets.
Yeah.
So my next advice is go ship something. I'm also advising myself, right? The ultimate metrics about product management is shipping, right? So from now I just ship one sprint like this of this episode. So you all of us to go find something to ship. That could be just going on LinkedIn and sharing your learnings from this chat and tagging. If you tag me, I'll help you retweet it. I'll like it. So go ship something. It could either be you volunteering for your next learn, launch and learn in your product organization. You don't need to have all the knowledge. Just come together. You can even facilitate it and turn it to open discussion, but go do something, ship something.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Let me go and ship something again after I finish shipping this one. Thank you again, Bolaji. Thank you, everyone who joined on the call. Really appreciate the time. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. If you are going to be attending the Product Dive Leadership Conference, you will most likely be seeing me there on Saturday as well. So if you do see me, say hi, connect, let's discuss. I absolutely will be looking forward to attending that. All right, take care, everyone, and yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.